Once again, spoiler warning for Megan. We're going to talk all about it. So if you're going to go watch this movie and you don't want to know anything at all, then don't listen to this show yet. You're going to go see the movie first and then come back and listen to us because we're going to talk about everything, including how she kills dogs and children. This Megan's really interesting in that like the Marvel movies, they have scenes that are they're ready to be made for memes, or they're strictly made just so they could throw it on a shirt or a poster. This movie, it might be the most audience ready horror movie I've seen in years, if not ever.
Yeah, to the point of it being like almost like ridiculously well done. But I think the thing we were talking about earlier, right, is it doesn't like pander to you at all. Like it gives the audience what we want and what we're expecting, I think, to a large degree, but it doesn't do it like ham-fisted. It does it in a really clever and fun way.
Yeah, it's just a crowd pleaser overall. I think it's going to find many audiences. My niece and nephew were interested in watching it, and my sister asked if they could, and I was like, yeah, actually they can see it. I mean, they watched Chucky with me, so they've seen some gore and stuff, but I was like,
They've seen more gore.
They've seen more gore. There's more gore in Chucky than there is in Megan, and I was like, now they can totally watch Megan and still be creeped out and enjoy the movie and find it fun, because at the end of the day, they're the TikTok generation that the movie is aiming towards.
Yeah, aesthetically, who's worse, Chucky or Megan?
I'm going with Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'll explain why when we get a little further into the conversation that I know we're going to have, because I'm psychic.
you both bring up like really good points. Our nieces and nephews are like what, 9 and 6 or 8 and 5 or 7 and 7. There you go. See, I'm not the only one who didn't know their ages. All I know is how annoying they are. So this the movie it
They're
doesn't pander. That just shows how much I love them.
Yes. Classical.
It hurts me more than it hurts. It doesn't pander to the audience. Like, it's very well written, and I would also say that it's one of the better, maybe family friendly is not the best way to describe it, but everyone can sit down and enjoy this movie. Like, it's certainly better than Boo, A Medea Halloween.
So many things are better than Medea's Halloween that it's startling. But say, Patrick, don't you have a funny factoid about Boo?
Yeah, we'll go over this some other time. But did you know that Chris Rock, you're a fan of Chris Rock? I think
I love Chris Rock.
Chris Rock may be responsible for, not me, Chris Rock is responsible for Boo, A Medea Halloween, both of them. So you know what? I'll just get into it. So, have either of you seen Top 5?
Top 5, no.
Okay, so basically the premise of Top 5 is Chris Rock is a successful actor. He's a cop who dresses up as a dog or something like that, I think, and it's a franchise of movies. And he's just sick of it, as happens, as we've seen happen in real life. He decides that, what, I'm a serious actor. People want to see me in a serious role. I am going to be in this serious movie. And everybody tries to talk him out of it. They're like, no, nobody wants to see it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So he pushes forward and he does it. And then it's opening night and he goes to the theater and there's a long line of people there and he's super happy. And then he tells his agent, he's like, see, I told you. So his agent's like, yeah, look what they came to see. And then he goes and looks on the marquee of the theater and it says Boo. And then beneath it is a poster of Medea looking all starved. So he ran it by Medea or Tyler Perry. He ran it by Tyler Perry before he did. So it wasn't a cheap shot. Tyler Perry had no interest in doing it whatsoever. The studio saw the movie and they were like, oh shit, that sounds awesome. They went to Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry does not turn down writing jobs. There you go.
There you go. Wow.
Two
The
Boo
birth of
movies.
Medea.
Curse of Medea continues. So, anyhow, this movie, I think it's great for all audiences. Kids will love it for what it is; they'll get the visceral feeling out of it, and adults, it does not talk down to them. I think it's a really, really all-encompassing movie.
Yeah, and like I think it's going to be one of those movies that's going to have like really long legs as far as once it like makes it to cable and HBO and all that kind of stuff. It's so kind of user friendly that it's gonna be perfect to like have on in the background doing laundry, etc., that kind of stuff. I think this movie's going to gain popularity just because of its user friendly ability.
Absolutely. And one of the things that it does that's a little more mature is it has some really interesting themes in it. The connection between Megan and her new family is something that kids will see just like, okay, this is what's happening. But adults can get like a really deep story out of it.
Yeah, no, yeah, go ahead, Regina.
No, I mean, there's like a hardcore lesson there about like, parents not letting their kids be, don't let your technology babysit your kids, basically, but without being overtly preachy about it. Really, it's not like trying to make anyone. It's just what it is, right? It's just what's happening in the story, and if the shoe fits and you feel offended by it, that's on you. But it's not trying to school anybody on that. It's just part of a fun. It's part of the fun aspect of Allison Williams' character, right? That she's just ill-equipped to look after this little girl that she's inherited. But also like it's not really trying to throw it in your face like, oh, you're a bad parent. It's just like, this is what's happening to this person, and there's lessons here that are very ingrained in our culture, our society, but it's not trying to like force anything.
Yeah, it was, yeah, it does a lot of interesting things as far as just the themes of what it is to be a parent, and what friendship is, what learning is. One of the
Right.
more interesting parts of the thing is, is Megan is, she's learning from a little girl who is emotionally traumatized from losing her parents and is lashing out and kind of behaving a little irrationally. She's not totally crazy or anything, but she's struggling with, coping with loss and grieving and stuff.
Right.
And then, compound that with the fact that, the creator of the AI is this total, sucked into her work, insulated person who, obviously the only friends she has are the people she works with because she doesn't have time for friends. And so she's this really not well-adjusted social person creating a social device for a child. There's just lots of stuff happening as far as like why Megan is doing what she does. And I think Regina and I kind of agree, like it totally makes you side with Megan.
Yeah, we are on Team Megan.
Yeah.
Megan is our best friend. And we love
Megan.
One thing that I think adults will be able to take handle a little better than children is the initial pacing for this movie. Say the first almost half hour, pretty slow going.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if the movie starts and that really what I think is now an iconic scene where Megan walks into the house and takes off her sunglasses, I think that's where you really want to start the movie.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes or so are, they are exposition that you need to get who these characters are and why they're feeling the way they do. But yeah, it doesn't, you're just waiting, man. You're just waiting for Megan to get on screen. You even when they bring in the little box with like the little like the silicone face or whatever, you're like, yes,
Yeah.
let's get this Megan thing going. And then there's a terrible accident. You're like, shit, I gotta wait. How much longer? And then she totally Rick Sanchez that's things back together. So
do you is the advertising too good? Is that why we're all just waiting for Megan to get on stage or get on screen?
That's such a good point. Yes. Yeah, no, I think we were super eager. Now, the thing I didn't realize is this was not a short movie, really. And
No?
so it takes its time with itself for that first 20 or 30 minutes, but
Right.
once we do get Megan on screen and we start having Megan-y things happen, the next hour or so is just a whole lot of fun.
And one of the things that I worried about in the opening is I was really concerned about the tone because the trailers and the commercials are very fun and they're exciting, and I couldn't wait to get into it. But as it's starting, it was very dour and kind of even beyond a horror how a normal horror movie starts. So I was a little worried that the movie was going to take itself too seriously.
Mhm.
Even though it started off with farting animals, right?
Well, see,
It still
so
did take that weird turn after it got really dour.
the literal opening is
Yeah.
awesome. Like it's a commercial for the dolls and the perfect pets, and they're awesome. Like they you feed them and then they crap, and then one of the best things to me is the doll's like, and then or so what do they say? Like, oh, and you know what else? And then the doll farts. Classic.
A classic moment.
Like I love that. Like I used to do that to Regina all the time. Like I'd say like, hey, did you hear that? And then she'd always fall for it. But I think she loved it. She like loved it that I would do it like multiple times in an hour sometimes.
It was my favorite thing. I really appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
Growing
Oh
up,
my
my sister would go, "You want to hear a secret?" And like she leaned in and burp into my ear. It was like,
that's so good. I gotta
It
write that
is, it's
down.
classic. Yeah.
I'm just gonna save that. Forget you heard that, Regina. I'm gonna tell you a secret tomorrow.
We should all be Leroy for Halloween. We should all just be variations of the perfect pet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a silly opening, and then of course the parts of M3GAN are wild. But as we've kind of touched on, there's some pretty serious themes in this movie. Like you mentioned, coping and parenting and friendship and things like that. I mean, overall, the writing for this movie, for some, I think, will be the most surprising thing about it because, for lack of a better term, like it is very maturely written.
And you know what? Like knowing now that the writer from Malignant is one of the writers from Malignant is the screenwriter for this movie, Akilah Cooper. Like I'm like not surprised because I freaking love Malignant. But what you get at first though is just like from the trailers, just like how silly the movie is. But yeah, when you're watching the movie, you're kind of like a little bit surprised to find out like this movie has so many layers. But that being said, though, I think the the marketing for the movie is pretty wonderful too, right? Because you get the bonkers trailer at the beginning, and they get and it wasn't even like this long thing where like you got it was the same trailer for a long time. Then right before the movie came out, you get a little bit more over the top trailers to kind of it's such a good job of bringing you in. And they had M3GAN on Twitter, like telling everyone she was their friend, which is why I now think she's my friend, and I'm going to write her letters.
Yes.
But I mean the marketing is really good. And you had mentioned that at first it seemed like it was a slasher movie, right? Someone had called it a slasher.
Yeah, I've seen it marketed as a slasher.
Marketed as a slasher, right? So I don't see M3GAN as a slasher. I don't know about you all, but I don't.
That it's an interesting, because like this movie's doing so many things, and it's being over the top, but it's being conscious of all this stuff simultaneously. And it's more I don't want to use the word sophisticated because that's not the right word, but it's more clever than your average cut and dry slasher, that's for sure.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'd agree with. No, I was gonna say, yeah, I totally agree with. As slashers go, like by the if I had trouble thinking about this in another life, but by the strictest definition of the term, this is a slasher. Like it very much cuts corners to become one.
Yes,
Yeah, it there's what, like 5 kills in it, counting the 2 before M3GAN. There's 5-6 kills, and there's not many kills in it, and they're definitely not as outrageous as you normally see in a slasher, but the kills are there. But if that's what you're going for, it's really, you're going to be so disappointed for that because there's not a lot of kills, and surprisingly there's not much gore either.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
There isn't. Well, I was gonna say this kind of goes back to the question earlier about Chucky versus M3GAN. Like I think Chucky is like more bad character because I think Chucky is a slasher because slashers do have some kind of motive somewhere along the lines. They
as
kind of
stupid as it may be.
Hmm?
As silly as it may be, I mean, to them it makes sense.
Yeah, but like for the most part, they just kind of kill everyone who's in their way. But
Yeah.
Megan's whole thing is that she is designed to protect her friend, and it's got to be her friend. And so everything she does do, it's only because it's to protect her friend. So she doesn't just kind of like, the mailman's looking at me funny, gotta take him out, like it's everything is very deliberate and purposeful. Do I think Chucky is funnier than Megan? Yes, but still, I think that I think Megan is, I guess, more kind of like meant to be good. She has intent. Her intentions aren't necessarily evil to be evil. Does that make sense?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like RoboCop, whereas Chucky's like Ed 209. Ed
Yeah.
209 is just an ass. RoboCop,
Yeah.
he kind of sometimes, gets swayed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, like Chucky would push the button on the nuke. And Megan would definitely not. She'd go kill like like an assassin, go kill the strategic person that she wanted. I like that she wasn't just bloodthirsty. That would have made it real stupid, actually. It would have been just like, oh shit, well, this is none of this. It's just bad Robo Santa again.
Right.
That wouldn't have been any fun. And so the fact that Megan had motive, altruistically as it was, she's just fucking batshit, and don't get in her way, everybody. I'm talking to you, everybody.
Yeah, and this all plays out, I think, in one of the most memorable scenes in the movie. My personal favorite is when she deals with a bully about halfway through the movie.
Mhm.
It's well written, and it also kind of defines the character that Megan is.
Yeah, that was easily, I think, my favorite part of the movie, just because, well, for a lot of reasons. Like, it's Megan out in the woods, so we've had her in lab settings and garages and houses, and so everything has felt very sterile, for Megan. And now she's out in the woods. There's kids everywhere. She's kind of with a pile of toys, and so like immediately just you're like worried about what she's gonna do because she's in such a different location. And then we have this bully who's such a little dick face and says fuck you to his mom, and his mom sucks, but he says fuck you, and that's fucked up. And then yeah, we have this scene out in the woods where he kidnaps Megan, basically, right? He runs off with her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I am terrified for Megan in this scene because
Yeah.
like he's such a shithead.
Yeah, and he throws her on the ground, and I mean, it's letting the audience infer a lot about what this kid's intentions and motives are, and none of it is good. And Pat, I think there was a particular moment there with the audience reaction, right?
Yeah, it's such a well-written scene because, like you said, you really don't know what's going on. And this kid, he's messing with her legs. He straddles her at one point. Her hair, like, I mean, someone who's more perverted than myself might say that it's mussed in a sexy way. Like, you really don't know what direction it's gonna go. And I was really afraid it was gonna go in a really disgusting one. It doesn't. He ends up smacking her, and then the entire crowd just gasps at it. And and it's twofold. It's one, like, I can't believe he did that to Megan. That was my initial reaction, which is immediately followed by, oh, this kid just fucked up. Like, so and again, this goes back to the writing. It's a very well written character in a very well written movie.
Yeah, go ahead, Radia.
No, I just love when her hand comes up and grabs his hand and she starts telling him like you're a shitty kid, basically,
Yeah.
But I mean, she's also making such a commentary on the way there's danger for little girls, for little kids in general. There's danger, and that scene itself like really makes me think of like all the times you're a dumb kid and you kind of get out of a scrape and you're like, wow, that could have been worse than it was. I think that's Megan's moment where she has a very she's kind of put in a really human and scary situation. And so it's part of her bad deeds, but at the same time, though, I mean, you kind of root for her. She has a point.
Yeah, you're like, man, can I send Megan off to my niece with college, please? Like that would make me sleep better at night, maybe.
And
you could be like, this drink has chemicals in it. Don't drink it.
And it's also the catalyst for another great thing out. So Megan's filled with like Megan the character just has so many amazing one-liners. One of them in this movie is in regards to this situation after the kid dies. Um, the little girl asks, "Oh, Megan, is so and so in heaven now?" And she straight up says, "No, he's an awful person. You
Yeah.
know, if heaven exists, he would not be there."
Yeah.
Like, just an amazing part.
Yeah, and just I love the way she delivered those lines, right? Like they did a great job with her like AI voice, whatever the voice acting was and direction for that was, it was just this side of like, no, there's something more to than that's just a computer talking, and they did a great job of making it sound totally like, Alexa over there. Just quit listening, Alexa. And something that was real. So
Alexa's gonna tell you right now. It sounds like you're scared.
I'm gonna turn on all
The
the lights.
marketing around this movie is the first, and it caught me too. The very first time around you see it is there's a dance segment that people love, and it is very eye-catching. That's the only dance segment in the entire movie. What they really hang their hat on for the silliness is there's a couple of singing numbers, which I think are just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
No, they really are. I like how, and it's kind of ridiculous because you see like these very like this weird like tender moment with Megan and her friend, and I wish I knew that little girl's name. She's just not a what's her name? She's just not as Katie.
Katie.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she's
Well,
actually,
it's not your fault because at first Katie's like, her parents have just died and she's coping, and we all cope in our own ways. But after a while, you're like, man, this kid's a little punk.
Oh, yeah. She's kind of a little ass, but I don't blame her too much. Her aunt's a bitch, and her parents seem like douchebags. So it's
well,
like,
Allison Williams is in fact a douchebag.
Yeah,
got that one. If Allison Williams would just try and I don't know if I like this about her. It's like she purposely goes for people who are assholes in movies because she's the horrible girlfriend in Get Out. She's in Girls, and she's even worse than Lena Dunham, if that can be believed.
Oh, how's that?
No, no, come on here. Let's give her some credit. No one's worse than Lena Dunham. Let's get that out of the way.
So I mean, like, she kind of just goes for these parts where they're awful people, and I wonder if she's like, oh, you know what? This suits me. I'm awful too. Or if she's just like, oh, I'm so far from being awful, I'm gonna try this person. It makes me wonder, makes me want to get to know her a little bit, but not really.
Well, yeah. So 2 points about all that. So like one of them is that getting back to our audience reaction and what a great time we had with that crowd was during those singing scenes, which were extremely creepy, in their own right. They had this latent humor to them. And as soon as like she kind of was done singing, like everybody in the crowd kind of like turned to the person sitting next to him and like laughed nervously. And I love that like that wasn't in the trailers. That was a very organic moment for a bunch of people in the theater to all be on the same page. And I love that. And I think that getting back to the writing thing, like that's good writing. That's knowing how to play to the audience without being a dumb pandering shithead writer. And I love that. And I completely forgot what the other point I was going to make. So whatever it was. Well, Allison Williams. I remember. She fucking sucks as a parent and a fucking programmer
and as a person.
And as a person. And anyway, I just wanted to say that again.
No, Megan, like by law, horror movies have to have sequels. This movie, they knew what they had before they ever released it. I don't know if it was after a test showing or after the initial round of marketing, or just might have been a gut feeling. But they've already started on a sequel for Megan. I don't know if they're just working on a script. I don't know how far along they've come with it, but there will be a Megan version 2.
Well, sign me up. Obviously, I'm Team Megan over here. Yeah, I think there was a great little setup, there at the end with the little AI bot or whatever it is that has obviously stored the AI or whatever memories or who knows what. I think one of the things we're all worried about, right, is that they're gonna go full ass goofy ass, over the top humor, kind of. We all worry about that in sequels. It's hard.
Right.
It would be super hard to recapture the magic that this movie had. I just kind of hope that they keep with that kind of clever vibe, because this movie was really clever, and to just go schlock would be a mistake.
Yeah, because
discover for her farting function since she's made from the same materials as those perfect.
Yeah, you say that now, but that might end up happening because what you have is a movie that kind of tricked its audience. Like the trailers make it seem really goofy, really silly, and maybe even a little bit gory. But then you kind of have a thoughtful, really almost serious movie that just happens to be surrounded by a killer doll.
Would this be grounds to sue the movie, like for tricking us? Like, oh, you make
Oh,
me
yeah.
feel
Yeah, false advertising. So Megan, in theaters right now, Regina, I'll start with you. C or no C?
Absolutely see. It's super fun. And I think we should all practice our Megan dance and perform it next week.
Yes.
And Blake, what about you? Megan, C or no C?
Yes. Spend your theater dollars to go see this here, Megan. It was a lot of fun. If you thought the trailer was looked fun, it's way more fun than that even. So yeah, go spend your theater dollars. Go check it out.
Yeah, this is a movie you should go and see right now. And like, don't go on like Sunday morning first showing. You want to go with a packed crowd. Like you want to go when there's a lot of people there. That's when you're going to get the most out of it. It's still a really fun movie, even without that. But yeah, if you want to get the full effect of the singing, dancing, and silliness of it, you want to check it out with everyone. So